part of the national conscience.
What were the biggest changes to the lives of people with disabilities?
Well, I think the biggest change particularly since the act was passed, is accessibility, the physical accessibility to get places. So today I traveled on a train from Trenton up to Newark to the studio. I could not, if I were in a wheelchair, I could not have done that 25 years ago. There would have been barrier after barrier to doing that. Today, almost every, would have been accessible almost every step of the way. So the physical access has been probably the most major step, and the one that most people are actually aware of. So people with disabilities are actually able to go places unassisted that they were never able to go to before.
But there are gaps in enforcement still.
There's a variety of gaps in enforcement. So first of all, architects and people that build buildings and people that manage buildings think they know what is accessible, and sometimes they're not. So they don't really always get it right. And sometimes the door breaks down or the elevator breaks down. So at the New Brunswick train station, for example, the only way to get off the train at New Brunswick down to the street is by an elevator. So if that doesn't work for a day or 2 weeks or a month, then there are a whole segment of people that just cannot use the train that day.
We watched the arc of history bend toward justice, to quote President Obama, on various issues. What was the common attitude that suddenly changed in the 1970s?
I think it was a voice to people with disabilities. So the federal government passed, before the ADA, the federal government passed the Rehabilitation Act, which was a recognition in the 70s that people with disabilities should at least get the opportunity to participate in federal programs. So that began a movement. When it took a while for the president and the administration to write regulations enforcing the Rehab Act, what then grew was a civil rights movement among people with disabilities that they wanted these rights, and as a result created these coalitions that